All right. Okay, let's see if this will work. So I wanted to go ahead and do a follow-up on my Haversack Essentials video, where I actually get into using the contents of the kit. But before I do that, I just want to say I appreciated the response I got from that video. I filmed it just a few days ago, and it got over 1,000 views in a short time. And usually, my stuff doesn't have that kind of response. At least not that fast. I have a few other videos in my history that did get views like that, but it's often taken months or years for that. So I do appreciate that, and I appreciate any feedback I got. Case in point, if you're watching, I forget the name, but whoever mentioned or pointed out that the image were reversed last time, I'm trying to fix that now. I have a different setup. I was in selfie mode on the last one, so I could kind of see myself, and this time I have my frame and everything flipped around and a proper tripod. If two forked branches makes a proper tripod. But anyways, I just wanted to say that thank you. I've already tried one take on this, so I hope this one will work out. I had a stubborn log that wouldn't split. So anyways, I wanted to get into the kit. And in my last video, I pointed out that the only dedicated outside accoutrement for this was this loop for my Tomahawk. And I really like this tool. I mentioned it's lightweight. It was a gift. Now this one's a little higher end one, but if I didn't have this, I would definitely have something like the Cold Steel Trailhawk, which is, I want to say, still under $50. Don't quote me on that. And I wanted to show this can do a lot of different things, and I wanted to show how it can process firewood a couple different ways. And keep in mind that anything, most of what I do here in the next couple of minutes can be scaled up to full-size axes. I have some hickory, and I am going to struggle with this a little bit because this is actually green from a tree I cut just like a week ago for firewood. So I'm cutting it here in like June so that it has time to cure. I'm trimming or thinning out of a few scraggly trees here on some family's property. So first off, what you're going to want, and this applies out in the bush, is an anvil. So I have this big chunk of hickory here, and this is going to simulate like a down tree. So you want a good solid platform, because when you're chopping wood, the ground interferes a lot. If it's spongy, or even if you have whatever you're chopping on has any kind of bounce, it absorbs the downward blows. Now, one thing I like about the Tomahawk too is it gives you reach. So I'm not working up here with a knife or anything like that. And but the problem with the Tomahawk is it's a great chopper. Like, you can cut really deep into material, but it is not great at splitting stuff, especially anything with any kind of length. The thing is, though, a lot of times you want this length because it generates a better fire. It generates, if you're processing this stuff down for tools of other, applications or anything like that. So the trick with that is not trying to split it from the top, but actually turning this whole thing upside down. I'll show you that in a second. But first, I want to explain just some real quick physics. I like to think of it as sharp impacts and dull impacts, or dead blow impacts. And a sharp impact is like a hammer driving a nail, where you have a really fast, real sharp impact that you're driving a little spike into something. So it's very focused. versus a dead blow, which is something like a rubber mallet. And rubber mallets, they hit, thud, and move things over. And a lot of times you don't have to expend nearly as much energy. So I could set this into this log like this and beat on it with another log. But to me, this is too many moving parts. I have my wrist, I have this hitting here, I have what's going on with the blade interacting with the wood, I have the base, and I also have my other hand here, and there's too much that can get misaligned. Rather than that, I prefer to spin this upside down and use the weight of the log onto the axe. Let me reset that, sorry. Get it centered here, there we go. And I can still hold my tomahawk steady, but by just doing this, you can see I split this, and it's green, so it's not wanting to come apart. But all I have to do is just flip this back around here and do the same this way. And now this length also comes in handy, because I can just do that. And if you've got good dry wood, a lot of times you can just split it and this will just pop apart like this. So there's one way. Now another way is to take it like this onto your anvil, but you run some risks of when it hits, if this comes here, you end up, I've actually had this happen, smash my fingers. And if you come like this and chop down on this, especially if it's round, like this is now split like this, so this isn't so much of a problem. But when you've got a full round piece and it can wobble like this, I just actually had this happen on my first take. It's not why it didn't work, but this actually hit over here and bounced and glanced and actually came up toward my leg. So that's not good. But if you have this, you can lay this down, chop that into it, and there you go. This has a wound on that already, so that didn't quite work. But you can just split it like that, and you're good to go. And another way, then this is more of a saw trick, but where this can be a hammer or a handle or something you're making, so you want the length to be there, is you can strike with this, and you can utilize that mechanic by cutting about halfway through your material. And I'll just chop this out real quick, because this is a very viable way. And by taking this down, you can actually split it like that. So if the further you cut through, the more you'll split off, and the easier that'll work. Now the other way to split something, because something like this piece here is about as large as I would go with the tomahawk, and I can't really do it this way or the flip around way, because it's too stubborn. It won't split, especially like in this green form. But if I can take advantage of this crack or check right here and kind of work this through, I can then flip this over and get something started. Yeah, there we go. I have a crack started. And where this tomahawk or even an axe will really help now is if you can manufacture a wedge. So I have one here that I started, got kind of gnarled up, and a wedge, something this length, the tomahawk will split down no problem, or even a knife can do that. But if you can generate a wedge just by chopping on either side and get a fine enough point to set, clean that up just a little bit more, there we go, and get a fine enough point to fit into your crack that you started, you can very easily use that to work that point of compromise. Just get another one here. And you can actually accomplish some pretty impressive things with just a little bit of know-how and application of some physics. Okay, so right there, this isn't working quite right. But if I can get back into that dead blow like I was talking about, this low, slow impact here should do what the Tomahawk couldn't. There, just make that a little finer so it'll set. There we go. That was a problem. So now you can see that that is cracking, and I can actually hear the fibers pulling apart. There you go. And this, like I said, can easily be upscaled. If you had a full-size axe, and this was a 8-foot log, say, and you could generate that by taking your axe and splitting into here and working wedges, say 3, 4, 5, down this, you can not only split a bigger log, and even off of this one, you could start another one and actually start splitting boards off that log and start making tables, doors, you know, planks for buildings, roofs, you know, really the sky is the limit. So that can also apply to something this size. Again, you have to work your tools just right. You can see I'm getting that started in there. And you can see that that little wedge is already splitting this down here. But anyways, I'm going to call that a wrap. Just, you know, a few things that you can do with something, a tool like this. And I do prefer this at times, not all the time, to like say a full size, like say survival knife or machete. But for this kit, this gives me the ability to do things like this. And knowing these tricks like that translate over to bigger tools and bigger jobs and chores. And when you get into that kind of stuff, you know, really the sky's the limit. So anyways, I hope be able to make the number 3 here pretty soon. I've got to decide where I should be getting into the bag. So I've got knives, water bottles, ponchos, stuff like that, cord tricks, So we'll try to do those, and I'll see you then.
Next to it up.